Hi guys, welcome to my Study Compass. In this video, I'll be walking you through Math P2, the specimen paper for exams from 2020. Let's get started. A train leaves Zurich at 22:40 and arrives in Vienna at 7:32 the next day. Work out the time the train takes. First, let's find the time duration from 22:40 to midnight. So we subtract 22:40 from 24:00. In the minutes column, we can't subtract 40 from 0, so we borrow 1 hour from the hour column, which becomes 60 minutes in the minutes column. 60 minus 40 is 20. Under the hour column, we have 23 left, so 23 minus 22 is 1. So now we add the 1 hour 20 minutes we got to 7 hours 32 minutes. This gives us the total time duration as 8 hours 52 minutes. In a box of 80 glasses, 3 are broken. Work out the percentage of broken glasses in the box. The percentage of broken glasses is equal to the number of broken glasses, which is 3, divided by the total number of glasses, which is 80, times 100%. When we type this into the calculator, we get 3.75%. Here is a list of numbers. Put a ring around the number with the largest value. First, let's ensure all the numbers are in decimals. The first number is already in decimal form. 1/3 is 0.3333 and it goes on. 0.0330 is already in decimal. 3/10 is 0.3 in decimal. We add 3 more zeros to make it 4 decimal places like the rest. 33% is 0.33 in decimal. We add 2 more zeros to make it 4 decimal places. The first digits are all zeros, so we move to the second digits. We have 33033. Since we are looking for the largest number, this will be out. Let's move to the third digits. We have 0303. These two numbers will go out. Let's move to the fourth digits. We have 30. This will be out, and so 1/3 is the largest number. Kai says that 8 centimeters squared is the same as 80 millimeters squared. Explain why Kai is wrong. 1 centimeter squared is equal to 100 millimeters squared. Therefore, 8 centimeters squared is equal to 8 times 100, which is 800 millimeters squared. Y equals mx plus c. Find the value of y when m equals -2, x equals -7, and c equals -3. All we need to do here is plug in the values given for the letters into the equation. So we have y equals -2 times -7 plus -3. When we type this into the calculator, we get 11. The number of cars parked in a car park at 9 a.m. is recorded for 10 days. Complete the stem and leaf diagram. The key has been given as 12/3 represents 123 cars. So if we pick 124, the first two numbers are 1, 2, which means we need to write the number on this line and write down the final number, which is 4. For 130, the first two numbers are 1, 3. So we come to this line and write down the final number, which is 0. We repeat the same process for all the numbers. When we are done, we ensure that the numbers on each line are arranged in ascending order. Using a ruler and pair of compasses only, construct a triangle with sides 5 centimeters, 8 centimeters, and 10 centimeters. Leave in your construction arcs. First, we measure and draw the longest length of the triangle, which is 10 centimeters, as the base. Then we measure a width of 8 centimeters with a compass, stand at one end on the base, and construct an arc. Then measuring a width of 5 centimeters with the compass, We stand at the other end of the base and construct another arc. When we are done, we draw two lines from the two ends of the base of the triangle to the intersection point of the arcs. After this, we label the side lengths of the triangles. Triangle ABC is isosceles. AC is parallel to BD. Find the value of A and the value of B. Base angles in an isosceles triangle are equal. Therefore, if this angle is A degrees, then this angle is also A degrees. All the angles in the triangle must add up to 180 degrees. So we have 2A plus 40 degrees equals 180 degrees. When we subtract 40 from both sides of the equation, this is what we get. When we divide both sides by 2, we get A equals 70. Since AC is parallel to BD, then these two angles are alternate angles. Alternate angles are equal. This means B should also be equal to 40 degrees. Rearrange the formula 5W minus 3Y plus 7 equals 0 to make W the subject. First, let's move all the other terms except 5W to the other side of the equation. Minus 3Y goes to the other side and becomes plus 3Y, and plus 7 goes to the other side and becomes minus 7. 5 multiplies W, so when we move it to the other side, it goes to divide 3Y minus 7, and so our final answer becomes W equals 3Y minus 7 divided by 5. Explain why square root of 3 is irrational. Irrational numbers are numbers that cannot be written in fraction form, and so square root of 3 is irrational because it cannot be written as a fraction. The mass m kilograms of a horse is 429 kilograms, correct to the nearest kilogram. Complete this statement about the value of m. To correct 429 kilograms to the nearest kilogram, we bring plus and minus 1 kilogram, then we divide 1 kilogram by 2. The upper bound of m is 429 plus half kg, which is 429.5 kg, and the lower bound of m is 429 minus half kg, which is 428.5 kg. And so for our final answer, we have m is greater than and equal to 428.5 and less than 429.5. Triangle ABC is similar to triangle PQR. Find PQ. For similar shapes, the ratio of their corresponding side lengths is equal. So in this case, we have PQ divided by BA, which is 5.2 centimeters, equals 21.7 centimeters divided by 12.4 centimeters. When we make PQ the subject, this is what we get. When we type this into the calculator, we have 9.1 centimeters. Solve the inequality. N plus 7 is less than 5n minus 8. First, let's group like terms. Plus n becomes minus n on the other side of the inequality, and minus 8 becomes plus 8 on the other side of the inequality. 7 plus 8 is 15. 5n minus n is 4n. When we divide both sides by 4, this is what we get. 15 divided by 4 is 3.75 in decimal. So we have 3.75 is less than n, or better still, n is greater than 3.75. Without using your calculator, work out 17/12 plus 13/20. You must show all your working and give your answer as a mixed number in its simplest form. First, we convert the mixed fraction into an improper fraction. So for 17/12, we have 12 times 1, which is 12, 12 plus 7, which is 19, divided by 12. To get a common denominator for the two fractions, we need to find the LCM of 12 and 20, which is 60. So for 19 over 12, we multiply the denominator by 5 to get 60. And so we also need to multiply the numerator, which is 19, by 5. This gives us 95. For 13 over 20, since we multiply the denominator by 3 to get 60, we also need to multiply the numerator, which is 13, by 3 to get 39. 95 plus 39 is 134. 2 goes into 134 67 times and 2 goes into 60 30 times. 67 divided by 30 is an improper fraction, so we need to convert it into a mixed fraction. 30 goes into 67 2 times with a remainder of 7, which we divide by 30. And so our final answer here is 7 over 30. Here is a sequence of numbers. Find the next term in this sequence. The terms in the sequence have a common difference of -2. So to get the next term, we subtract 2 from -1. This gives us -3. Find an expression for the nth term of this sequence. This is the nth term formula for sequences with a common difference. A1 is the first term, which in this case is 7. D is the common difference, which in this case is -2. When we expand the brackets, -2 times n is -2n, and -2 times -1 is 2. 7 plus 2 is 9, and so our final answer here is 9 minus 2n. A hexagon has 5 angles that each measure 115 degrees. Calculate the size of the 6th angle. The sum of interior angles in a polygon is 180 times n minus 2. N is the number of sides of the polygon. Since we have a hexagon, then n is 6. 5 of the angles each measure 115 degrees, and we want to find the 6th angle, which we are calling x. And so the sum of the interior angles is 5 times 115 plus x. 5 times 115 is 575, and 180 times 6 minus 2 is 720. When we subtract 575 from both sides of the equation, we get x equals 145. Calculate the area of this trapezium. This is the formula for finding the area of a trapezium. A is the top length of the trapezium, which is 8 centimeters. B is the bottom length, which is 12 centimeters. We need to find the value of h. We have a right-angled triangle here. We get the length of the base by subtracting 8 centimeters from 12 centimeters, giving us 4 centimeters. Now we can get the value of h using the Pythagoras theorem. This gives us 8 squared equals h squared plus 4 squared. When we make h the subject, this is what we get, and this is equal to 4 root 3. Now that we have the value of h, the area of the trapezium is half times 8 plus 12 times 4 root 3 centimeters squared. When we type this into the calculator, we get 69.3 centimeters squared, rounded to 3 significant figures. Shade the region in each of the Venn diagrams below. A complements union B. Union means we can shade the region outside of set A in addition to the region in set B. This is what the result should look like. Shade the region D intersection E complements intersection F. Intersection means we need to find the overlap region after shading the area outside D intersection E and the region in F. This is what the result should look like. Use a calculator to find the decimal value of square root of 29 minus 3 times 32 raised to the power 0.4, all divided by 3. When we type this into the calculator, this is what we get. Since we've not been told to write the full calculator display, we round it off to 3 significant figures. Write the recurring decimal 0.32 as a fraction. You must show all your working. The dot is placed on 2 in 0.32, which means 2 is the recurring number. Let's call this decimal x. So we have x equals 0.3222. If we multiply this decimal by 10, this is what we get. And when we multiply it by 100, we get this. Notice that 10x and 100x have the exact same pattern after the decimal point, and so these are the two numbers we'll carry forward into the next step. To get rid of the recurring pattern after the decimal point, we subtract the two numbers. 100x minus 10x is 90x, and 32.2222 minus 3.2222 is 29. When we divide both sides of the equation by 90, we have x equals 29 over 90. The diagrams A, B, C, D, E, and F are 6 graphs of different functions. Complete the table to identify the correct graph for each function. One has been done for you. This is the equation of a straight line in the form y equals mx plus c. We see that the gradient of this line is the coefficient of the x term, which is negative 1 over 3, and the y-intercept is 1. Diagrams A and E are straight lines. Diagram A has a negative slope because the line is going downwards, and the y-intercept is 1, and so the answer here is A. This is a quadratic function, and quadratic functions have a parabola shape. When we put x equals 0 into this equation, we get y equals 0. Diagrams B and C have a parabola shape. Diagram C passes through the point 0, 0, and so the answer here is C. Diagrams D and F have the shape of a function which has a constant divided by x. Since the function we are dealing with is negative, the curves will be in these quadrants, and so our final answer here is D. A soccer team plays 2 matches. The tree diagram shows the probability of the team winning or losing the matches. Find the probability that the soccer team wins at least one of the 2 matches. There are 3 possible scenarios in this case. It's either they win the first match and lose the second match, or they lose the first match and win the second match, or they win the first match and win the second match. The probability that they win the first match and lose the second match is 1 over 3 times 1 over 4. The probability that they lose the first match and win the second match is 2 over 3 times 3 over 4. The probability that they win the first match and win the second match is 1 over 3 times 3 over 4. When we type this into the calculator, we get 5 over 6. AB is an arc of a circle center O, radius 9 centimeters. The length of the arc AB is 6 pi centimeters. The area of sector AOB is k pi centimeters squared. Find the value of k. We know the formula for the area of a sector is theta over 360 degrees times pi r squared. We don't know the value of theta. We've been given the value of r as 9 centimeters, and we also know the area of the sector is k pi centimeters squared. 9 squared is 81, and so when we divide both sides of the equation by pi, this is what we get. Now let's find the value of theta. We know the formula for arc length is theta over 360 degrees times 2 pi r. In this case, r is 9 centimeters and the arc length is equal to 6 pi. When we make theta the subject of the equation, this is what we get. Pi cancels out. When we type 6 times 360 over 18 into the calculator, we get the value of theta as 120 degrees. This is what we have when we put the value of theta into the equation we have for k. This is equal to 27. These box and Fisker plots show the monthly electricity cost for 100 different households who use Electro Company or Spark Company. Tom says that the monthly costs with Electro Company are lower and vary less than with Spark Company. Is Tom correct? Justify your answer with reference to the box and Fisker plots. From the box and Fisker plots, the median for Electro Company is 52 and the median for Spark Company is 46. We see that the median for Electro Company is higher than the median for Spark Company. Therefore, we can conclude that Tom is wrong because the monthly costs with Spark Company are cheaper. From the box and Fisker plots, the interquartile range for Electro Company is 18 and the interquartile range for Spark Company is 26. We see that the interquartile range for Electro Company is lower than the interquartile range for Spark Company. Therefore, we can conclude that Tom is right because the monthly costs with Electro Company vary less. Find the turning point of y equals x squared plus 4x minus 3 by completing the square. So first, we take the coefficient of the x term, which is 4, divide it by 2 and square it. Then we add and subtract it to balance the expression. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now that we have the expression in this form, this first section of the expression can be rewritten by taking the x of the x squared, then taking the constant term 2, then writing it as x plus 2 all squared. When we type the other section of the expression, which is negative 2 squared minus 3 into the calculator, we get negative 7. To get the x coordinate of the turning point, we equate x plus 2 to 0. This gives us x equals negative 2. The y coordinate is negative 7, and so the coordinates of the turning point are negative 2, negative 7. A, B, C, and D are points on the circumference of the circle. The line XY is a tangent to the circle at A. Find the value of x, giving a reason for your answer. Based on the alternate segment theorem, angle DAY, which is 55 degrees, should be equal to angle DCA, which is x, and so x equals 55 degrees. Find the value of y, giving a reason for your answer. ABCD is a cyclic quadrilateral. Opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilateral add up to 180 degrees. So when we subtract 65 degrees from 180 degrees, we get the value of y as 115 degrees. Simplify. 27x raised to the power 6, or raised to the power 1 over 3. By applying the laws of indices, we can rewrite this as 27 raised to the power 1 over 3. 27 is the same as 3 raised to the power 3 times x raised to the power 6, or raised to the power 1 over 3. When we multiply the powers of 3, 3 times 1 over 3 is 1. 3 raised to the power 1 is 3. When we multiply the powers of x, 6 times 1 over 3 is 2. And so our final answer here is 3x squared. Find the value of 64x raised to the power 4, or raised to the power 0.5 times 4x raised to the power -2. By applying the laws of indices, we can rewrite this section as 64 raised to the power 0.5, where 64 is the same as 8 squared, times x raised to the power 4, all raised to the power 0.5. When we multiply the powers of 8, 2 times 0.5 is 1. 8 raised to the power 1 is 8. When we multiply the powers of x, 4 times 0.5 is 2. So now we have 8x squared times 4x raised to the power -2. We can rewrite this as 8 times 4 times x raised to the power 2 plus -2. 8 times 4 is 32. 2 plus -2 is 0. X raised to the power 0 is 1. And so 32 times 1 is 32. Solve the simultaneous equations. You must show all your working. First, let's label the equations as equation 1 and equation 2. When we substitute equation 1 into equation 2, this is what we get. When we move all the terms to one side of the equation and group like terms, we get 5x squared minus 20 equals 0. When we divide through the equation by 5, we get x squared minus 4 equals 0. We can solve this quadratic equation by factorization. 4 is a perfect square, so we can rewrite x squared minus 4 as a difference of 2 squares. This gives us x squared minus 2 squared equals 0. By applying the factorization for the difference of 2 squares, we can rewrite this as x plus 2 times x minus 2 equals 0. When we equate x plus 2 to 0, we get x equals -2. And when we equate x minus 2 to 0, we get x equals 2. To get the corresponding y values, we substitute the values of x in either equation 1 or equation 2. Let's pick equation 2. When x is -2, we get y equals -7. And when x is 2, we get y equals 9. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful. See you in the next video. Bye guys.